So the other day we found out that She-Hulk is coming into Marvel's Avengers as confirmed by Miller, and then the actual voice actor herself went ahead and confirmed it by quoting his tweet, and then Miller done a live stream where somebody picked up that he actually stated there will be another mystery character before She-Hulk is released, and that the character has not been on a leaked list before. Now a teaser that he gave on this mystery character was the hair is pretty interesting. Now, I'm sure as a community we are definitely one of a kind. But what does 2022 hold for Marvel's Avengers? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. If we can get 6 likes on this video in under 24 hours, that'll be much appreciated. But let's roll the ad for today's incredible sponsor and then we'll continue. So today's video is sponsored by Aniba.com, which is a brand new gaming marketplace with over 20,000 digital products. They'll bring you the hottest deals in the market of any title, new or old, and they have an absolutely incredible Trustpilot score. So you can be rest assured you're going to get your stuff on time and your gaming will continue without a hitch, and they even offer a 24/7 live support, which is just an absolute lifesaver. Now, it's a great place to buy games for not just your PlayStation 4, Xbox or PC, but you can even get things like your PSN cards or your Xbox cards and a bunch more, just like the Amazon gift cards, etc. It's a great place to go ahead and check out, and you can use my code SuperRebel to get a 3% discount on your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Visit Aniba.com with the link in the description below. Okay, so like I said, we know that She-Hulk is coming into Marvel's Avengers. It's kind of been one of those characters that we've known for a while. They even teased it themselves in the trailer back before the game was released, so we know that's always been a character that has been on the list. But now the fact that there's another mystery character that's technically meant to be coming before She-Hulk is pretty interesting. Now, I know there's a lot of theories going around on who this character will be. Now, I don't want to say anything, but I do want to find out what your theories are, so let me know in the comment section below. But there's 2 ways we can really go about who this mystery character is first and foremost. A, is it going to be a full-fledged DLC character where they have their own story, etc., or is it going to be another character to where it follows a very similar release like Spider-Man did, to where it's like you kind of just get to know the character as you go on in the game, and you know, the cutscenes basically explain everything. Now, what we did kind of expect at first is for that format to be good, and it soon proved itself that, okay, well, just a random DLC character being thrown into the game isn't actually as good as we thought it would be. Now, in all honesty, I'm not really too bothered about that. I just want to know who the mystery character will be. One thing we know is the replayability on this game is what people want, right? They want the content. We don't just want cosmetic skins, although we know that's something they're still focusing on. And let's talk about the 2022 scenario right here, because let's be completely honest, I don't think we really expected the game to get this far. I mean, sure, we did expect the Black Panther DLC and then the Spider-Man DLC purely on the basis that it was an exclusive, but I think it's safe to say we all agreed that had Spider-Man not had been a PlayStation exclusive and they didn't have to release his character because they didn't have a deal with Sony, then the chances of this game actually having the plug pulled was very, very likely. Now, we don't know what the actual sales figures are for this game, but like I said a few moments ago, we know the cosmetic skins is where it's at, it's where it's always been at, and it's where it will basically always be at for the foreseeable future, because there's nothing, well, in terms of revenue, there's no other way this game can get it, right? In terms of you actually purchasing the game. So what my theories and predictions are for 2022 is that She-Hulk's character is actually going to release, because again, they've hired a voice actor to do that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's already been done. It's now just a matter of releasing that character. The mystery character that Miller is now stating has kind of changed a few things, because that would mean another 2 characters technically within the first quarter of 2022, which is quite interesting. That is a possibility if that follows that same structure to where one character has a full-fledged DLC and then the other character just simply has a drop, ultimately similar to how Spider-Man did. But as far as the other characters go that I think can be implemented into this game throughout this year, providing the plug does not get pulled, is, Bucky Barnes has been on the list for a long time. War Machine, of course, is another character, or DLC character, should we say, that's been on the list for a while. So right there, that could technically be another 4 characters for the entirety of 2022, which again would also be realistic. Now, whether the game is going to make it towards the end of 2022 is that big question. Now, if I'm honest with you, going back into Marvel's Avengers, and you guys know, or you probably should know by now anyway, is that I don't play Marvel's Avengers as much as I did, in fact, nowhere near as much as I did from when it first released, right? Just like you guys, we've been following the news, we're still supporting the game, you're jumping in and doing things like the raids, etc., which I have done and has been a ton of fun, minus the glitches and the bugs, which can definitely get frustrating, but the content is still fun. Let's be completely honest, when you do jump in and you play with buddies or whatever it may be, it's actually a fun game. It's not really boring, right? It's probably better than we did think it would be. And if you're somebody who has never played Marvel's Avengers and maybe you're in that position now to where it's like, okay, should I jump in and buy this game? It's an absolute no-brainer, because the amount of content you would get in this game as a new player is going to be insane. I mean, it's going to be way beyond the value of what you actually be paying for in terms of the game right now, right? It's so cheap. So if you were a new player, there is tons of content in the game. Now, I'm talking from a perspective, just like majority of you guys, that had the game since launch, and we've been riding this wave and waiting for content and waiting for moments that is really going to say, okay, here's the Marvel's Avengers that we all really thought it would be. But like I said, I think the only thing lacking in this game is content, and I think we're in that really weird situation, especially for 2022, trying to get sort of like my business brain on and stepping into the shoes on Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, etc. I'm purely thinking of a revenue perspective, right? Content is really, really key, but how would they monetize the content? That's probably the first issue. And second of all, I honestly do believe, although content is a big thing they are definitely focusing on, in terms of fine-tuning it and so forth, there just probably isn't as big of a budget as, last year, well, this time last year for sure, but just in general throughout 2021 to where we are right now. So we know there's a much smaller team. Every time they release a new DLC character, it is kind of payday for them, because they're able to go ahead and release skins for those characters. You pay for those skins, the MCU skins, the list goes on, right? That's their source of revenue. Whereas if they didn't release any new characters, so DLC characters, and they solely focused on the content in the game, which is something I want them to do, but understand why they wouldn't do it, then it just wouldn't make sense for them to actually spend that much money in terms of a team and getting the animators, etc., to rework a system. So I genuinely still think they are solely relying on 2022 to bring them a ton of revenue in from the DLC characters that they drop. They will probably implement new content with the DLC characters, almost like a way of testing it, because again, they release a new character, people are really excited, people pay for skins, and then the new content that they paid the team to actually implement in the game hasn't technically just been done for nothing, because there is a way for them to get money, and then also it's a way for them to trial the game modes or whatever it may be, just the content in general. I hope that makes sense. To say that one last time, they will focus on new content, but only new content that gets released with the DLC characters, and that will be a form of testing the content, because when that comes with the DLC characters, it means it has not been done for nothing, right? It's not been done for free, and there is a way they can get revenue from it simply based on those DLC characters. It just wouldn't be a situation where they solely focus on content and no DLC characters, because then yes, that does mean they would technically do it for free. And I don't know where we go from that point afterwards, right? Because if the content does do good when they release it with a DLC character, how do they continue to add more DLC, well, or should I say content into the game without a DLC drop in terms of a new character, right? So that's kind of a grey area. I guess the whole strategy there would simply be, okay, well, we just still need to draw as many players in as possible and keep them hooked and then just provide really cool skins. But my theories on 2022 overall, to conclude this video, is I think it's going to be an interesting first and second quarter, and then really where we stand with the third and the fourth quarter of the year is going to be probably that big telling time on, okay, well, it's either going to make it to the end of 2022, which if it does, that means that it's making a lot of money and it's going to be definitely thriving in 2023. And even just saying that sentence, as much as I would like it to be a thing, it's still so hard to really say that's likely. The chances of that happening, honestly, are probably about 40%, at least right now. But leave your thoughts on this stuff in the comment section below, and that's going to wrap up this video here. So I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and adios amigos.